just have one example today because this is very similar to what you did in the last lesson. We want to multiply, so I'm going to try to determine if these can be multiplied. So I want to look at the dimensions. This is a 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. This one is 1, 2, 3 by 1, 2, 3. So since the inside numbers are the same, that means this one can be multiplied. And the answer will be of dimensions 3 by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and make my answer. And notice this one is a 3 by 3. And now let's go see if we can find what goes in each spot. I'm going to start with this spot. Row 1, column 1. So since this is row 1, I'm going to use row 1 and column 1. So I have the first element and the first element. -2 times 0 plus -1 times 1 and 0 times 5. -2 times 0 is 0. -1 times 1 is -1. And 0 times 5 is 0. So in that spot, row 1, column 1, I'm going to put a -1. Now I'm going to go find row 2, column 1. So this time I'm going to use row 2 and column 1. 0 times 0 is 0. 2 times 1 is 2. And -1 times 5 is -5. 0 plus 2 plus -5 is -3. In this spot, I have row 3, column 1. So I'm going to use row 3 and column 1. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. And -2 times 5 is -10. So in row 3, column 1, I have 5 plus -10, which is -5. Let's move to the second column. This is row 1, column 2. So I'm going to use row 1, but this time I'm going to move over to column 2 for all of my answers because they're all in column 2. So row 1 and column 2, -2 times -1 is +2. -1 times 0 is 0. And 0 times 0 is 0. So in row 1, column 2, I have a 2. This next spot is row 2, column 2. So I'm going to move to row 2, column 2. 0 times -1 is 0. 2 times 0 is 0. And -1 times 0 is 0. So 0 is in row 2, column 2. This would be row 3, column 2. So I'm going to use row 3, column 2. 5 times -1 is -5. 5 times 0 is 0. And -2 times 0 is 0. So -5 plus 0 is -5. Last column, column 3. So that means for the answer in this entire column, I'm going to have to use column 3. This is row 1, column 3. So I'm going to use row 1, column 3. -2 times 1 is -2. -1 times -1 is 1. And 0 times -1 is 0. -2 plus 1 plus 0 is -1. Row 2, column 3. 0 times 1 is 0. 2 times -1 is -2. And -1 times -1 is +1. So in that spot, I have -2 plus 1, which is -1. Last spot, row 3, column 3. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times -1 is -5. And -2 times -1 is +2. So this goes to 0 plus 2, which is 2. So there's my answer.